were richer than all of us combined. That was a very startling. In fact, I refused to believe that report when I saw it, if I'm very honest. I genuinely, but it kind of made sense, because that's why they refer to those people as the 1% of the, not 10%, the 1% of the population in terms of finances, right? Now, they tend to live life, obviously, much differently from the rest of humanity, in a sense, particularly based on the quality that they can afford themselves. But this morning, I want to ask you, as a Nigerian, how would you rate the high-class people that we have in this country? About 2 months ago, was it 2 months ago or a month ago? I think it was about a month or two ago. Yeah, I came across a video on Instagram of an African lady. What do you call it? African American or Black American? But she was probably born and brought up in the US, and then she relocated to Nigeria. And she said, "Look, since she relocated, her life is so sweet. She has a driver now. She has somebody who cooks. She has a maid, and all of this is happening with less than $1,000. So I don't know. I don't know her whole story, but I do know this: that yes, if you earn in dollars, for example, okay, and you are living in Nigeria, or you're living in Ghana, or you're living in the Cameroons, or in Ivory Coast, or in Togo, or in Benin Republic, you will probably be living or even in Kenya. In fact, basically any African country, right? You'll probably be living, just a little bit better. And this is just $1,000 for utilities, as opposed to what some people I know in the US are paying for utilities every month. Imagine some people working in the UK, right? Some Nigerians or some Africans, some, who are working in the UK. Yes, they have their cars, but they are paying monthly payments, car notes, and all those type of things, right? And they're happy, but they don't have a security guard, aka a gate man, aka either Usman or Tunde or Nawarebo. They don't have any one of those people at the gates. They don't have a Kaite, or they don't have a Chinyere who is going to be cooking their breakfast and lunch for them. They don't have that. To show you how expensive these professions are, these cooks, chefs, security guard or butlers, that's putting it too extreme. But I had an auntie who, when she was in the UK, realized that she was spending basically an arm and a leg to get a minder to mind her children while she would be going to school. And so she had to stop paying the minder. Now, some of you are going to say, it's poverty mentality. It's poverty. When she was in Nigeria, they would have called one person from the village to come and take care of the baby. Let her pay. Well, we like to suffer people in this country. And so it got me thinking, let me present the quote-unquote rich or high-class people in Nigeria, and let's compare them to the high-class people in South Africa, even in Egypt, and then obviously the UK and the US. So the high-class Nigerian has, one or two cars, has a gate man, has a cook or a house girl or a house boy, then has a driver. Bam. The high-class person in US or UK may have a driver, may not have a house girl, or may not have a security guard opening gates for them. They may not have that. They probably use electric doors. That's one. They may have a chef, a living maid. It's a possibility. But you see, in these cases, the one in the US is paying a lot more than the one in Nigeria. So, are they both high-class people, or is the average Nigerian just leeching on those that they can?
Views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
With Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
017-923-0002, 0817923-0003, 0817923-0002, 0817923-0003. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH. All right. WhatsApp is 0809 030 6416. 0809 030 6416. Once again, very simple question. I like to believe. How would you rate the high class people in Nigeria? Are they really high class, or are they just basically people who are opportunistic on those who are not as good as they are? Are they the high class man or woman I know? Are they paying decent wages? But they're high class. They have, I don't know. What do I know? Who listens to me? Well, Anita here says, hi, Ju, good morning. I actually saw that particular video that you talked about. The woman was really happy. She was basically living her best life. And that's the truth. If you are in Nigeria and Africa, you can, with a good job, live the kind of quality life that a lot of people would love to live. However, I don't think these people, the high-class people that we're talking about, are actually paying the decent amount of money for the staff that they employ. Most Nigerians are evil. I know some people who will pay 40,000 naira for 2 people to be their cooks every month. Is that not wickedness? Anita is asking. Anita, I don't know. So they have 2 people. They are paying them 40,000. That means they are paying each of them 20,000 naira a month to come and cook for them as per cooks. I don't know. But they're the ogas, they're the big ogas and madams in our society. But I wonder if that big oga or madam, if they were to travel abroad, if they can actually live the life that they live here in Nigeria. High class people, ladies and gentlemen. High class people. the big men in our society. Yes, as Nigerians and even as Ghanaians, since we're not too far. Also as Kenyans, since we're about to share the same type of, societal structure. Yeah, and even Ugandans and Tanzanians and Cameroonians. Yeah, and people from Benin Republic. Yeah, so basically sub-Saharan Africa. You get the drift, right? So how do you perceive our high-class individuals? Are they really, exemplary figures? Do they actually, reflect what it really means to be high valued? Is it just about the money? And even the money that they have, are they actually paying for, are they paying appropriately for services? Are they reflective of the society? Do people really want to aspire to be like them? I would like to think almost anywhere in the world, if you have money and you have influence and you have affluence, people would want to be like you. I think it's pretty much a given. But when we look at those services that we like to pay for, you ask yourself, you want to pay for someone to come wash your clothes. Why? Because maybe you don't have the time. Yeah, and this was a thing. I remember this was a thing back in 2000, between 2000 and 2010, right? Before people realized, we can actually get washing machines. Washing machines are not only for the uber rich, it's only for president and governors, and anybody can save and get a washing machine. Having those days a washerman was a thing. I remember going to see my cousins back then, even in Uniben. We used to, what's the term? Any walk. It was a thing. You would get somebody to come wash your clothes, iron your clothes, and bring them back to you. Why? Because you have to report to your office by 7:30. And by the time you come out from work, it's about 4 p.m. So you are tired. So you don't really have that time or the energy, to dedicate to cleaning. So you get a maid. You get a washerman. And when you do that, you are a big boy. An oga, so to say. So how do you rate this? Are they really ogas? Are they really big boys? Or are they just making or taking advantage of, the cheap labor that we have in this part of the world?
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
With Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp is 0809-030-6416. 92.3, good morning. Hello, Port Harcourt.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jude.
Good morning, please.
Thank you. Jude, I know of a billionaire in Port Harcourt here that pays his cook. He has two of them, up to 300,000 in a month. And he has someone that takes care of his children. His wife is there, and he also pays his wife, place on it, and he just wants her to rest. He pays his worker, the lady that takes care of his children, two of them, dude, up to 200,000, even more than that. In fact, that is at intervals. He just gives them tips.
Tips, yeah.
He even buys clothes. Take this for you. Should do small shopping for yourself. Now that is what I call a big boy. Yeah, he has the money, and those around him are feeling it. Do you know that if the lady that takes care of his children, she has reached the age of marriage, and he doesn't want her to pass that age, that stage. He's getting to 30, and he now decides to pay her off She was crying. She doesn't want to go. She was begging mother. She was begging everybody. Say, no, you have to go and settle down. We cannot just stay here and waste your life here. It's like, yeah, you're doing something good, a very good job, but you need to go. He now set something up and now gave her 3 million cash. And say, when it's time for our marriage and wedding, she said, come. She and her husband should come. He will bless the marriage, and certainly I know he will do something for them. Now, that is what I call a big boy. You know, these are big boys that those around them don't even want to go. Do you know that he dashed his personal driver? He gave him a car. His workers, my goodness, they don't even want to go. Every day they are praying for you because of the money. The money he pays them, no other staff, no of their mates that works in the same, organizations earns as much. His secretary, he gave her a land. He bought a land somewhere for her. This is his secretary, the person that oversees everything. And she has a car. That is her side. These are big boys now, Jude. This is what we call big boys. You know, you don't treat your domestic spouse anyhow. Then when you go out of clubs, you go out and you smash money everywhere. No, you are poor at heart. So when people around you know that, yeah, in fact, they don't even want to live with this. Go out there, they think of them. You don't know how much, you don't even know how many staff you don't pay a family. Something and something, because of how small the money is. So please, my mother nowhere. Please, can you just take it? It will be on them. You know, all at heart. You cannot give freely. The Bible says, blessed is the one that gives. There's he that scattereth and yet tended that increaseth, and then he that withholdeth and yet tended to poverty. So if you want to show that you are a big boy, you have money, I beg, you need to see it around those that are your domestic staff, those that are working around it. Those are from those people that want to hear that you are a big boy, you're wealthy. Not you come and praising yourself and the flashy cars, but those around you are merely servants. No, that is not wealth to me. Thank you, Jude.
All right, thank you. That's not wealth to her. But most of the people don't do what she said. That's her. That's what she said, not me. I didn't say that. All right, good morning, Jude. My name is Destiny, all right? Honestly, all right, the average Nigerian is an opportunist. So I'm not surprised when even the so-called high-class folks act the same. Imagine being hired for a specific role, but your boss starts calling you to their house to wash their car or clean, all in the name of building relationship. That's not bonding, that's exploitation. Worst part, the salary doesn't match the work, let alone the extra duties. Insane climbs where people work based on contracts. Stuff like this doesn't even fly. Maybe if we adopted proper contract-based employment here, a lot of this misuse of power would reduce. But I know that we'll still have good people. Thank you. That's from Destiny. 91.3 Nigeria Info, good morning.
Yeah, Jude, Mr. Zion, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
If I should start this discourse, I will call it the purpose of wealth transfer. I want to use this medium to also credit the wealthy Nigerians who have this mindset to transfer wealth, who take care of people around them and also bring them up to speed to their level that they should be. But I want to tell you honestly, to a large extent, a lot of the people we thought they have money, most of them are just unfortunate such money in their hand. And some can't even trace the wealth which they got. That is why you are seeing this misuse and abuse of process when it comes to the upper class, the middle class, and the lower class. Go and study times of history. Words were transferred, knowledge were transferred. That's why they were able to sustain it. Go and look at the relationship between Aristotle and Plato. Go and check. Go and check the relationship between Elijah and Elisha. I will ask you, our uncle Emefiele, can you name another person behind him? Our very good uncle Rotimi Amechi, can you mention anybody behind him? Uncle Wike, can you mention anybody behind him? You see that this present age of us, we are so greedy, we don't want anybody to come close to us. That is why the word of mentorship is no longer there. Sir, I was privileged to be mentored by some great minds here in Port Harcourt. Growing up as a child, I go to their houses, sit under them or sat under them, have discussions and listen to 4 o'clock news. Yes, 6 o'clock news before I say good night, sir. Today, do we still do that? Can we entrust this relationship of wealth transfer? We no longer transfer wealth. When I mean wealth, it's not only money now. It may include your knowledge, assets, bonds. Mention them. Mention them. We cannot. We can't even sustain the wealth we have because most of the wealth are untraceable. Oga who give you money, we can't buy this car. But go and check those men I just mentioned who have a trace. I did this contract. This is the bidding process. Sir, until we go back to the foundation, what we are going to keep celebrating is mediocre. Haven't you seen criminals who came back and they gave them chieftaincy titles? Haven't you seen men that have no record of their wealth? They became paramount rulers in their communities. Until we deal with this aspect of our life, we can never get it right. I was in the barracks ironing my brother's uniform as a naval officer. One officer called my elder brother. Who do this for you? He made mention of me. Who taught me? My elder brother. I started serving under this naval chief here in Bolokiri here. Sir, just that work I did introduced me to many officers. When we see, I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about those things that when you see a military officer, he hang on in alone, he thought na metal, but it not be metal.
It was standing, starched.
My brother, we have lost a lot.
Okay, so very quickly before I get to the next call, so do you think the high class people we have here are really high class people?
They are not. Just the few who are truly high class. That's why I told you about wealth transfer. Your high class, can you transfer it? If you cannot transfer by your high class, you are nothing. On your street is poor. No street light. Criminals everywhere. Jobless young boys and girlfriends. On your street, you are doing nothing. You only fenced up, put big dog, put security, why are you transferring nothing?
That's a good question. What's up? Now, some people who are called high class in Nigeria are just rich in Naira. They can't sustain the same lifestyle where British pounds or American dollars are the norm. My other half and I are fortunate to be able to live pretty much the same lifestyle in Abuja and in London. I say pretty much because there are things we do in Nigeria that we don't do in London and vice versa. Not because we can afford it, but because of personal preference and the way the society is set up. I mentioned yesterday how it's just easier, faster, and cheaper to take the tube around London than it is to drive. So we have a car in London, but unless we are going to certain places or events, we take public transport. Food, we cook. We order in normally, or if it's a specific event in London, we get a private chef. Wow. You are getting private chefs. Guess it, Mary. In Abuja, we have a chef. Having said that, I am very particular about the people I let into our homes, who handle our food, who can drive us around, and security. We pay well because a worker deserves his wages and no need to wake or provoke any sleeping demon in any staff. That's from Anonymous. Interesting. This one says, Drew, good morning. Please, many of these so-called big men and big women we have in this Nigeria are all slave drivers and slave masters. Quote me any day. How many of them truly want to see their drivers become much better than they are at that point? You have some men who have drivers 10, 15, sometimes even 20 years working for them. What do they have to show for working with this quote-unquote big oga? That's a very good question. That's a very, I know, I say it's a very good question because my late uncle had the same guard, the same security guard from the time of my birth. So for nearly 30 something years, Ibrahim, we all grew up, all of us grew up knowing Ibro. That's what we used to call it, Ibro. Ibrahim had a certain, I won't call, I think I'm going to go as far as calling it a friendship with my late uncle. I'll go as far as calling it a friendship because I on several occasions when we would visit Lagos, we'll be told, Ibra has gone to the farm. He'll probably be away for another 3 or 4 months. Whatever he does there, no problem. He will come back, he will ask somebody to stay in his stead. When he comes back, he stays. He had a wife. I think he even had 2 wives. And we heard Ibra had built a house. This was like when we were in university, but 2010 or so. But he still liked to work for Chief. He just liked to come see. He and Chief would sit down and they'd be discussing. But some people have drivers 10, 15 years. The person is still a driver. Have you thought about maybe giving the person more responsibilities? Like, okay, Oga, you've been a driver. Why don't we buy you a car so somebody drives and you can make money off it? I don't know. I know that there's some wealthy people who are butlers who are there. It's kind of like the Batman story, right? Alfred was the butler to Bruce's parents. And they paid him very well. And he stayed on being the butler to Bruce Wayne. What does Jude know? 017-923-0002, 017-923-0003. WhatsApp is 0809-030-6416, 0809-030-6416. All right, at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X, at Nigeria Info PH. Permit me please, let me read this message before we get to do the draw for one play before we leave the studio. This one here says, Drew, good morning. See, some of these people who are called big men and big women in this country are very evil. A very few of them actually have the finances, not just to pay people, but to see people grow. But many of them want to make sure that those people who are under them stay under them. Kelvin. They want you to stay under them. All right, let's do our one play draw.